Dr. Les, how are you? How are you, Dr. Les? Can you hear me, Dr. Les?
Yes. Hi, Rob. How are you?
Where are you?
Shavua tov. So I'm actually on the way to the OU, the Israel Center. They're having a shiur tonight. But it's just so amazing. Just before Hanukkah, you see Chanukiot in the windows already and Sufganiot. Already
Wow.
people are preparing. So it's incredible.
It is amazing. Wow, before even Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Wow.
So you already start feeling, you feel the atmosphere. That's incredible.
You are, you feel the atmosphere of Yom Tov in Eretz Israel. It's amazing, huh?
Well, Rav, we're going to feel about 7 tonight. It's a very interesting share you're going to be giving.
Be'ezrat Hashem, yeah. We're going to speak about number 7 in Judaism. We're going to speak about also not in Judaism, in all different subjects. Give us news about Eretz Israel, what's happening in the Holy Land.
So yeah, it's been interesting. You know, things are kind of stable. We there hasn't been too much news. Bennett's now gone to, I think it's in Scotland, where they're having the climate. But you know, he was with Putin in Russia in Sochi, and he stayed over for Shabbat. And Chabad were the ones that helped him out with Shabbat. So there you have an Israeli president, you know, prime minister wearing a kippah. It's amazing on the world stage. It's really, really good. So we don't know if this government will continue. They have to pass the budget. It's coming up for this coming week. And if they don't pass the budget, we're going to have more elections. But you know, it's Hashem rules. Hashem rules the place. So, but you know what? The most amazing thing, Rab, if one agrees or disagrees, but he wears his yarmulke proudly. And to have a representative of Am Yisrael keeping Shabbos, wearing a kippah, it's really quite remarkable.
That just show you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the end of days will raise his nation up. But we have to raise his name first, you know. We have 100%. To be the first one to be proud in our religion, and then the rest HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do.
Okay. Rob, I'll just tell you a bit of good news. There's a drug company that's doing an oral COVID type of vaccine. It's going to be like an oral one, and they're having the trials in South Africa. An Israeli company that they've agreed to have the trials and the trials are going to be done in South Africa as well, which is actually quite remarkable. That is quite amazing. So
especially the South African government is not so pro-Israel.
So this is actually quite a breakthrough, and it's quite amazing.
I just hope that the Israeli going to come and help us here with the electricity to sort out the problem.
Sorry,
that was a joke. Okay, thank you, Dr. Levy.
All the best, not at all.
Always nice to speak to you, to get all the good news. Shakwa. Okay, I would like to take the opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Les. I'm going to mute everyone. Rabota, I'm going to mute everyone. Shmuli, just unmute yourself and give me your father's name. What is your father's name?
Yitzchak Yeshayahu ben Shmuel Meir.
Okay, Asher יהיה לעילוי נשמת יצחק ישעיהו בן שמואל מאיר. נשמתו תהיה צרורה בצור החיים, please God. ולעילוי נשמת, we're going to delegate the שיעור, לעילוי נשמת אסתר קדם בת קציה, מרדכי בן רחמה, הרב אברהם חיים בן אליעזר יעקב, תמר בת זהבה, רחל בת סולטנה, רחל בת מלכה סולטנה, יעקב סלומון בן פרחה, דבורה רות בת בלה. Please God, that the shiur going to uplift their soul and they're going to get an achas in heaven. I would like also to delegate the shiur to those that need refuah shleima, ליאורה בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פרחה, אורנה בלומה בת מרים, הרב אברהם בן מרימה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, הרב משה בן דבורה, איתן בן הדסה, ישראל בן זיסה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, יוסף בן אסתר, דבורה בת אסתר, שרה דבורה בת אלקה, צדוק בן שרה, שולמית בת חיה שינה לאה, אריה בן גיטול, דוד יצחק בן חווה לאה יהודית, שרה רבקה בת יהודית, וחיה חסיה בת רחל. Please God, הקדוש ברוך הוא will send them רפואה שלמה to them ולכל שאר חולי ופצועי עמו ישראל בכל מקום שהם. Okay, so as we send the message, we publicize.
Rolf, can you include one more person? He's going to have a liver transplant. Please.
Sure.
He's David Ben. Wait. Just give me a second. David Ben Yehudit.
David Ben Yehudit. Okay, David Ben Yehudit. Okay, I think that I mentioned his name, David Yitzhak Ben Chava Lea Yehudit. Okay, so please God refuah shlema to all of them. As we publicize, we're going to speak today about number 7 in the Jewish religion. In Judaism, in Jewish religion, we bring sources from our holy Torah and etc. And we'll see what is number 7 actually mean. So as you all know, number 7, the word number, the number 7, it's a very common number in the Jewish religion, okay? And not only in the Jewish religion, it's very common also in our Holy Torah. Where is the source to the word Sheva? Because Sheva means 7. 7 mean in Hebrew, if you want to translate it, Sheva. Sheva, number Sheva is 7. The roots for that word, listen to that, it's Milshon Shua. The root for it is oath. When a person want to take oath. Our Torah tell us regarding the oath. Where do we learn about it? From the Torah, that Sheva is actually oath. The Torah tell us in Sefer Shmot, in Parashat Ki Tisa, there's some noise in the back. I need to mute everyone. Let me just mute everyone, because if there is noise, it's difficult for me to focus. The Torah tells us in Parashat Ki Tisa, in Sefer Shmot, chapter 31, verse 17. It says like this, Beni uben bnei Israel ot hi la'olam. It's a sign between me and the children of Israel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ki sheshet yamim, because for 6 days, Asa Hashem et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the earth and the heaven in 6 days. Ubayom hashvi'i, and on the 7th day, Shavat vaynafash. On the 7th day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rested. He stopped. And immediately, we all have to understand, Hazal tell us here that from this word you learn that from it say, Beni uben bnei Israel ot hi le'olam, it's a sign between me and the Jewish people forever. We're learning something very interesting. That means that the 7 days, it's a sign and it's connecting the Jewish people and the Almighty together. That means the connection of the Jewish people to the Almighty or with the Almighty is the 7th day. Again, number 7, remember. But Hazal asking very valid question. Hazal say, we don't understand. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu have to create the entire world? Took him 6 days. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he's the master of the universe. He's the creator. Everything he can do. He can create the entire world in 1 day or in 1 second. He can say, Vayihi olam. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, matter of fact, didn't work. Be'asara ma'amarot nivra olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world by saying, Vayihi or, for example. So how come that it took the Almighty 6 days to create the world, and on the 7 days, that's the sign between us and Almighty, but it means the sign. by that the Jewish person keep the Sabbath, he actually taking oaths that the Almighty is the creator for the world. So Hazal explained something extraordinary. Hazal say that here HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to teach us something very, very important, very fundamental idea, Rabotai, that the 6 days of the creation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, it's something physicality. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and tell us, you want to do physical work, you want to work, I'm not telling you that you have to, but that you have 6 days. While the 7th day, that's the Sabbath, Yom HaShabbat, HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to tell us that it's spiritual. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying in the Torah, and he say himself, Shabbat ve'nafash. What it means, Shabbat? Shabbat is strike. Not Shabbat, Shavat, okay? That means that the 7 days that it's Shabbat, it's a day of strike, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't work. So how a Jewish person can take an oath that we explained that the word Sheva is Shvu'ah, Mishon Shvu'ah, that's an oath. How can he do that? By that he strike from working on the 7th day. That means that the root to the word Sheva is oath, when a Jewish person on the 7 days doesn't do any melacha. That's to explain where's the root for the word Sheva, where does it come from? Okay, so far we understand that the 6, number 6, then represent physicality, while number 7, the number 7 represent, no, help me guys, spirituality. That means that every number 7 that we see, it's spirituality, while 6 is physicality. Okay, so far we understand the first part, why that HaKadosh Baruch Hu implanted number 7 in the world. That means that Sheva, it means Shvu'ah. What it means, Shvu'ah? Oath. How do we do that? By that we keep the Shabbos. We know that on Friday night, every Friday night on Kabbalat Shabbat, we all sing the famous song Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, it's a song that's been written by Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz. Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz, born in the city of Saloniki in Greece. He born 516 years ago. And there we say something very interesting. What did we say on Friday night? Ki hi mekor haberacha. What it means, ki hi mekor haberacha? The source of the brocha that the person can have, it's Shabbos. You want the source for the brocha, it's Shabbos. What does it mean? So the Maharal Miprag, the famous Maharal Miprag, Rabbi Yehuda Levy ben Betzalel, he born in Poland 500 years ago, and he explained what Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz say, he mekor bracha. Shabbat is a day of brocha, and many people can come to a conclusion or might to idea that they're going to lose money if they're not going to work on the 7 days. Why? Because many people come to me and they say, Rabbi, I have a shop and a shopping center. What should I do on Shabbat? It's a very, very famous question. I said to him, if you can close it, it will be for your own benefit the best, and you can't lose nothing. You're only going to benefit. Why? Because Shabbat is a day of the source of all the brocha for the rest of the week. That means if you want to see how the rest of your week going to look like, look at your Shabbos, Hazal say, the mystical Rabbi. What does it mean? Many people come to a conclusion, and it's a mistake conclusion, that if they work on Shabbos, they're working an extra day, they can earn more money. But it's wrong. Because when it said Mekor HaBeracha, said the Maharal, Mekor HaBeracha, it's not necessary more money. Brocha doesn't mean more money. Brocha means that you have a brocha in the money that you have. There's many people that can earn a lot of money, but it doesn't mean that they have brocha on it. Why? Because when people doesn't have brocha in the money, lo alenu, the money get wasted, lo alenu, on all different repair, okay, on all different maintenance that they have to do, if it's for appliances, if it's for their vehicle. I'm talking about now physical thing. And I don't want to mention, I don't want to take it off my mouth, but has v'shalom, people can spend it on their health, has v'shalom. Has v'shalom, lo yakum v'lo yeh. So the brocha, said the Maharal, it's not how much money you earn. It's how much money that you earn. With the money that you earn, even if it's little bit, that you have brocha with this money. And many people intend to think that if they'll have more money, they'll have more brocha. Not at all. And that's what said the Maharal, and he explained the word of Rabbi Shlomo Levy al-Kabetz. Ki himer kor bracha. Shabbos is the source of the bracha. By that you're striking and you're not working on Shabbos, it might to other people look like that you don't make more money. Yes, maybe I don't, but I get more bracha with what I get if I don't work on Shabbat. That means the entire bracha being planted in my money, in the wealth that I have, in the wealth that I have, okay, in a physical thing that I have, if I don't work on Shabbos. Why? Because Shabbat is the source of bracha. Sorry, I needed to drink something. My throat is dry. And the mystical Rabbi explained like this. The Kabbalistic Rabbi said, Shabbat, it's a day that the star luck, that what we call it Ma'adim, the star luck of Ma'adim on Shabbat. Ma'adim is whatever you do, you have no bracha. It's actually a disaster. It's a day of disaster. So the mystical rabbis say, you know why HaKadosh Baruch Hu Dafka implanted that on the 7th day you should strike from doing any melacha? Because the star luck of Ma'adim, okay, it's on that day. You have to be careful with that day. That's mean that people that on Shabbos resting and turning the day not only to a rest, it's not only a day of rest, a day of spirituality, that they learn Torah, to everyone according to his level, to whatever he can. Obviously, you must rest on Shabbat. And the mystical rabbi said that on Shabbat, you should sleep a little bit more later than usually during the week. That's mean that on Shabbat, the person should sleep a bit more to rest, because it's a day of rest. That, as we say that in the Pasuk there, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, actually, we say it every Friday night, that we can partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu by saying that word. And by that we're striking on a Shabbos day, and we're resting, we turn it to a spirituality. So we understand from here that the 7 days, that's the Shabbat, it's a day of bracha, we explain. Now I would like to move with you and to bring a few samples from our Holy Torah, that it's speaking about number 7. That number 7, okay, mentioned in the Torah. For example, let's start with the beginning of Chumash Bereshit, from the 5 books of Moses. The first verse, in chapter 1, verse 1, there is 7 words. What are they? Bereshit, bara, Elokim, et hashamayim, ve'et haaretz. We see that immediately in the beginning of our Holy Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu implanted number 7. We maybe don't see it, because number 7, it's a spiritual, we'll speak about it. But this number 7, it's hidden in nature. 7, that although that is spiritual, it's not above nature. It's something that's hidden inside the nature and HaKadosh Baruch Hu planted. For example, we say also, Sheshet Yamim Ta'avod, as we mentioned, 6 days you should work. Ubayom HaShevi'i Shabbat. That means, in the 7th day, you must strike. That's the verse in Sefer Shmot and Parashat Yitro, where it speaks about the 10 Commandments in chapter 20, verse 9. Then we have something very interesting. The festival of Shavuot. Shavuot, Sheva Shavuot Tisporlach. That's in Sefer Dvarim, in chapter 16, verse 9. There the Torah tells us that you should count 7 weeks. 7 weeks, multiply 7 by 7, you'll get the number 49. That means that you have to count 7 weeks, that on the 50th day, that will be Shavuot, the day that we receive the Torah. Again, we have Pesach in the Torah. Where is Pesach mentioned in the Torah? Shivat Yamim Tuchal Matzot. That means that the Torah tells us in Sefer Dvarim that in a festival of Pesach, you should eat matzah. That's in chapter 16, verse 8. Then we have the festival of Sukkot. Okay, Basukot Tishvu Shivat Yamim. Chazal tell us in Sefer Vayikra, Parashat Emor, chapter 29, verse 42. Okay, Basukot Tishvu Shivat Yamim. Again, 7 days that you obligate to sit in a Torah. You can't think that number 7, it just can just appear like this. That's in the Holy Torah. Let's continue. As you all know, the menorah that was in a tabernacle and Bet HaMikdash have 7 arms. Again, from the Torah. We know that Pharaoh, when he have his dream, what is he have a dream? He have about a dream about 7 cows, and then 7 sheaves of wheat. Again, number 7 appearing. We can't think for a second that number 7 is just another number in Judaism or in the Torah. Also, you all know that Eretz Israel been blessed with the 7 species. What are they? It's Chita, Seora, Gefen, Te'ena, Rimon, Zait, and Tamar. What does it mean? Chita is wheat, Seora is barley, and then Gefen is grapes, Te'ena is a fig, Rimon is a pomegranate, Zait is olive, and Tamar is a date. That means we see, and there's many, many more samples that we can go on and on and on, that number 7 appearing in our Holy Torah. In Judaism, in Jewish religion, number 7 also play a major role. Number 7 play a major role, for example, in a festival of Simchat Torah. We're doing Sheva Akafot. We're doing 7 times. We're circling the Amud, where we put the Sefer Torah, or what you call it, the Echal, that you put on it the Sefer Torah. Okay? Why Dafka 7? It represents the 7th time that it's in a book of Yeshua, that when the Jewish people wanted to conquer Eretz Israel, they surround the city of Jericho 7 times. Okay, that's why we're circling to remind that the miracle that happened to the Jewish people when they wanted to conquer Jericho, that they surrounded 7 times. Also, let's go back to the festival of Sukkot. In Sukkot, in Jewish religion, we know that we have the concept of Ushpizin. Ushpizin, it's mean visitors. We have 7 visitors. Every night, a different visitor come to visit you on Sukkot. That means that on Sukkot, every night, a different visitor come in a head. But every night, we have 7 visitors that coming to visit us. For example, on the first night, it's Avraham Avinu walk in ahead, and behind them the rest of the 6. So together it's 7. we have the Sheva Oshpizim. On Shabbos, we have Sheva Aliyot. That means on Shabbat, there is 7 people that go up to the Torah. Okay, obviously, if you have Mosifim, it's different, but in general, yes, Sheva Aliyot. Okay, also, we know that the Jewish people have 7 prophetess. What it means, prophetess, that it was the Jewish people have the first prophet that we have, the word female prophet, it was Sarai Menu. After that, we have Miriam and Neviah. Miriam was the sister of Aaron and Moshe. After that was Dvorah. After that was the prophet Hannah, Abigail, and then we have Huldah Neviah, and the last one, it was Esther Malka, the Queen Esther, that she was the 7th prophet, that we have a female prophet. Okay, we have also Sheva Yemei Simcha Shel Hatan Vekala. That means 7 days that the Hatan and Kala, what we call it Sheva Brachot, that the Hatan obligated to make the Kala happy for the first 7 days, that he mustn't go to work, he mustn't go on journey, he mustn't go on business. He has to spend the first 7 days from the day that they're married with his wife. After that, lehavdil, a different thing. We have Sheva Yemei Avlut. What it means, Sheva Yemei Avlut, 7 days of mourning on a deceased, on a Jewish deceased. Also, in Jewish religion, we have the concept of Moshe Rabbeinu. What is the concept of Moshe Rabbeinu? I will explain now. You all know that Moshe Rabbeinu, when is he died? On the 7th of Adar. When did Moshe Rabbeinu born? On the 7th of Adar. And we saw that was the mistake. That was the mistake of Haman HaRasha. That Haman HaRasha was thinking because that Moshe Rabbeinu died on the month of Adar, that's where the luck, has v'shalom, of the Jewish people gone down. But the opposite, we saw that Moshe Rabbeinu born on the 7th of Adar. So what does it mean 7? Again, the spirituality of 7 come to tell us that even on the concept, in a Jewish concept, number 7 means something very spiritual, that they have a lot of power. Now, I would like to go now completely to a different completely different area, and that's called psychology. I don't know how many of you know that what number 7 represents in a psychology world. There is an article that's been published in 1956 by a American psychologist that's called George Miller. George Miller wrote a book or article, whatever you want to call it, and it's called The Magical Number 7 Plus Minus 2. That's the name of the article. And there, George Miller, that done 5,000 tests, that he tests people with that, over 5,000. And he explained that number 7, it's actually called the magical number. Why is it called the magical number? And he explained like this. He explained that in a short memory that a human being has, a person can absorb in one time 7 things, only 7 things. He can't absorb more than 7 things. That means George Miller said that a normal human being can absorb 5 items that he see, okay, or that he remember in his short memory. He can't do more than that. That's the average human being. So we see from here that even the psychologists agree that number 7 is something magical. They call it magical. They don't call it spiritual. Let's move on. The rest of the nation in the world. As you all know, and almost every Jew know in the world, almost every Jew, I say especially every Jew know, that the Jewish people have 613 mitzvot, 613 command. From them, there is 248 positive command, while we have 365 negative command. While the nation, if you look at the rest of the nation, how many command they have? 7. And it's called Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noah, the 7 law of Noah. And they are like this: the 7 mitzvot that they obligate to have, they have from them 1 positive, and the rest is all negative. All the rest is 6. The first positive, that they're obligated to appoint judges for themselves, according to their law, not according to the Jewish law. Okay, that's the first positive command. After that, they have 6 negative command. The first one is Birkat Hashem. What it means, Birkat Hashem? That means that they're not allowed to curse the Almighty, the Creator, Kadosh Baruch Hu. The second negative command, not to worship idols, Avodah Zarah. The third one, Gilui Arayot, immorality. They're not allowed to commit immorality. After that comes Shpichut Damim. What it means, Shpichut Damim? They have a negative command of murdering. They have another negative command that's Gezel. Gezel is robbery, stealing, and etc. And the last one, it's Achilat Ever Min HaChai. What does it mean? Eating a limb from a living animal. So we see that number 7 have another effect, not only in Jewish religion, not only on the Jewish, from the Jewish Torah, also in a physical world, but it's hiding in a physical world, number 7. Let's move to the body of a human being. We all know that in the body of every human being, there is 7 windows. What does it mean, 7 windows? I will explain now. That every person have the 2 windows of the eyes. The window, that means that you can close and you open. There's 2 windows of hearing, that you can close the ears and you can open the ears, okay? The windows of the nostril, that you can smell. And then come the mouth. Altogether, 7. Also, in a human being, there is 7 limbs. The head, the 2 hands, the 2 legs, the stomach, and the 7th one is the Brit Kodesh. Okay? In a physical world, also number 7 play a major role, as you all know. There is in a world 7 continents, that it's well known that in our world there is 7 continents. There is the 7 notes of music, that it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's what we call it, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si. Okay, that's the 7 notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then we have in the 7 days, that during 6 days is physical, the 7th day is the spiritual. Then we also have 7 seas. There is the Adriatic Sea, the Agadite Sea, the Hayam Aravi, that's called the Arab Sea. Then there is Hayam Shahor, that means the Black Sea. Then there is the Caspian Sea, there is the Mediterranean Sea, there is the Persian Sea, and there is the Red Sea. So we see from here that even in the physical world, number 7 play a major role. Although that it's hiding in nature, but number 7 play a major role. I would like to go with you now, if you don't mind. I don't know how many of you know that I mentioned it in previous showing, that the word Torah actually mentioned in our 5 book of Moses in sequence, in multiples of 7. How does it work? Let's take Sefer Bereshit first. The word Bereshit, it was the first word in Sefer Bereshit. If you take the letter Taf of the word Bereshit, count 49 letters. The 50th letters will come Vav. Continue with that the same, count after that 49 letters. The 50th letters will come Resh. Count another 49 letters from the letters Resh. The 50th letters will get to Hey. You'll get the word Torah. The same thing in Sefer Shmot. In Sefer Vayikra, it's completely different. Sefer Vayikra, we get a different name in a sequence of 7. If you take from the letters Yud of the word Vayikra and you count 7 letters, the 8 letters will be Hey. If you count from the letters Hey and another 7, the 8 letters will be Vav, will get the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shem Havaya. That means in the book of Moses, the first 3 books of Moses, that Bereshit, Shmot, Vayikra, it's hidden that HaKadosh Baruch Hu written the Holy Torah. Sefer Bamidbar and Dvarim, the word Torah mentioned backwards, from back to front, from front to back. How's it work? Here we see something very interesting. If we take from the beginning of Sefer Bamidbar and Sefer Dvarim, we start counting 49 letters. The 50th letters that we get, it's going to be Hey. That means that we're going to get the word Torah backwards written. The same from the end of the book of Bamidbar and Dvarim. If you start counting from the end of the book 49 letters backwards, the 50th letter is going to be Hey. That means that you get the word Torah by the first 2 books, that's Bereshit, Shmot, and the last 2 books, you get the word Torah backwards, front, backwards. And in the middle, you get a beautiful name, the holy name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. What does it mean? That here HaKadosh Baruch Hu implanted in his holy Torah, that he written the holy Torah. And it's not a human being that wrote the Jewish Torah. The Jewish Torah is being done and being created and been written only by the Almighty. That Moshe Rabbeinu wrote it, he wrote it. There's no dispute about it. There is a dispute about the last few sentences of Sefer Dvarim. There is opinion that Yeshua wrote it, Vayamot Moshe, and after that he wrote it. But vice versa, doesn't make a difference. Moshe Rabbeinu wrote what HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded him. Yeshua that wrote, according to the one opinion, the rest of the end of Sefer Dvarim, the few verses of Sefer Dvarim, that, again, by the command of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them what to write, and they wrote. So we see that if we take and we multiply and we do sequence of the number 7 in our holy Torah, we get a proof that the Torah been written by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's that. Physically, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote it. This is one thing. But who told him what to write? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Be'ezrat Hashem, now that we know really little bit, we don't know too much, but we know little bit regarding the number 7. That number 7, Rabotai, we have to understand it's spiritual. While number 6 is physical, what does it come to tell us? That the Kadosh Baruch Hu actually hiding number 7 to look to us. He hiding the spirituality behind nature. It's look to us, everything look like nature. We explain, if you remember, on Shmini Atzeret, that the number 8 means above nature. But number 7 is nature, but hidden it inside the spirituality. That means everything looks to you like nature, but behind it is a lot of spirituality on number 7. While number 6, we explained at the beginning of the show that number 6 represents physicality. Everything that's physical in the world, hiding behind number 6. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to tell us, I created 7 days a week. In a week, you have 7 days. The first 6 days of the week, you can do all your physical work. Although that in every physical work, you have to include spirituality. That it says, that even when you traveling, even when you're working, you have to remember Kadosh Baruch Hu. But the 7th day, that's the Shabbos, Shehi Mekor HaBracha, that's the source of all the bracha that we have in this world. All the bracha that we have in this world, Rabotai, all the bracha that we have in the world come from Shabbat. If the Jewish people, Hazal say, Lu mishamrin Israel shne Shabbatot k'ilchatam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu immediately redeemed us. Why? Because in the power of Shabbos hiding, not only there what we call it prosperity, also something that we can bring the Mashiach. That means number 7, it's looked to us like nature, but it's not. Inside it, there's something so spiritual that sometimes we miss it. Why? Because we unfortunately busy with our life. Our life is so busy. It's so hectic that we forget. But number 7, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us, Shabbat, what it means Shabbat? Shabbat is to strike, no more working. That means that Shabbat, it's a day that you can get all the miracle, all the sources of bracha come from what? From Shabbat, that's the 7th day. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we merit that all the Jewish people, Be'ezrat Hashem, will keep Shabbos, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our days, and we see Bet HaMikdash, Amen Ken Yeh Ratzon. I would like to give time now for question. If you have any question regarding the subject, I will try and answer that.
So Rabbi Levy says 7 books of the Torah. How does it work? It was only 5 there.
Say again, I missed you, Steve.
7 books of the Torah, he says. The 7 books of the Torah, some say there's been 7 books of the Torah. The Chumash.
7 books. Hamisha, we have Hamisha, 5.
Okay, let's see what the part of Balosach, that's like a separate.
Bereshit.
Hashem.
You agree with me, Vaikra, Bamidbar, and Barim.
Yes, but the one says Vayi being Saron, the part there, the Ba'adin's part is Balosaka. That's like
no, now I understand what you're saying. That dividing the book of Dvarim to 2, that's what you're saying. Am I right?
Balosaka.
Okay. But that's something else. That's something else. It's too heavy. Let's leave it for now.
Yes.
That dividing it to 2 books. Okay. Yeah. Any other question, Rabotan? Any question, Rabotan?
Hello,
yes,
Rav.
Who's speaking? Who's speaking? Joe, Jeffrey, Shalom Aleichem. Where are you? I'm looking for you.
Hiding. The spiritual hiding behind the physical.
I can't see your face. I'm trying to.
Oh, okay.
Put the camera on so I can see you, Jeffrey. Oh,
hi.
It's always nice to see who you're speaking to. Yes, Jeff.
So Rav, so every day we see this when we after we finish davening in Shacharis. So every day when at the end we include the don't we? The spiritual with the physical verses that we're looking forward towards Shabbos, which is the spiritual, which is hidden within inside each one of these verses. I don't know. Is that the meaning of having these verses that we say the days of the week, for the days of the week, but this is the first day towards Shabbos. So we encapsulate the spirituality.
So what you're trying to say, Hayom, for example, tomorrow it's going to be Monday, okay? Hayom Yom Sheni B'Shabbat Kodesh. That means today is only the second day, okay, in Shabbat Kodesh. What it means in Shabbat Kodesh? That means that it's the second day of the 7 holy days that Shabbat become Kodesh. And that's where the magical 7 hiding in Shabbat Kodesh. And that's why the psychologists call it the magical number. They call it magical, okay? Because you can't expect from a Gentile that never learned Torah. By the way, they're not allowed to learn Torah. Chazal tell us, Goy shelomet Torah hayav mita. But that's not the issue. The issue is that because they don't have this ability, they don't have such a holy Torah, they cannot understand. So they've given it a different term, a different name, whatever you want to call it. But vice versa, what it means magical 7? Why they didn't call it magical 1, magical 2, or magical 3? Why dafka number 7? Because that HaKadosh Baruch Hu opened the mind of George Miller and given him a little bit of a wisdom to do that research, that he will see that only 17 a normal human being can remember and absorb with our limited mind in a short time. Other than that, you can't. So that means that again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu implanting in number 7, like in a physical world, that it looks like physically, but it's not. It's inside the nature. To us, it's look, he done a scientist, he found that it's naturally. No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu implanted it in his mind to start researching how many objects a person can find in his mind and he can remember it. What does it mean? That he look at 17 or 20 things, and how many of them he can remember. That means a person get 100 objects, how many of them he can remember from those objects that he saw, or how many pictures he can remember? With our limited mind, only 7. That's in one shot. You understand me? And that's what you're saying. That Hayom Yom Sheni B'Shabbat Kodesh, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu implanted again the holiness of the Shabbos in a number 7, that Shabbat, to make it more spiritual. Shakwa, beautiful, beautiful connection. Shakwa.
Thank you, Rav. So Ron, one other question, if I may. A person. In fact, Shabbos not really a day. It's an entity. It's a wholeness of itself. It's not a day, because I know from experience, you get lost in the forest and you're working and you're not near civilization or in a desert, and you land there. When's Shabbos? When is Shabbos? So what I've had learned is the day you arrive, you call the word is Shabbos, and then you count 7 days.
7 days.
7. So it's not just a specific day like we have in our calendar. Oh, it's a day. It's Shabbos. No, it's a whole entity. It's a whole revelation on its own. It's different to a normal day. Something like that.
Absolutely. Let me just add up one thing to what you say. The mystical Rabbi explained to us, the mystical books would say that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Sunday came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and said, who's going to be my partner? He said Monday. When he created Tuesday, it will be Wednesday. Thursday will have Friday. When Shabbos came, the 7th day, he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and who's going to be my partner? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I will be your partner. And that's where the spirituality come on a 7th day. That means in a 7th day, although that it look like nature day, like normal every day. No, it's not. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a partner of that day. That means the 7 days is a day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually partner with it. The same for us to understand. Like a normal human being have a woman, a female partner, especially say normal human being, because there is today, the world become a bit upside down. There's male and male, female and female. That every human being, male, have a partner, female. Okay? HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the 7th day and said, I'm your partner. That means that the 7 days in HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a partner. And that's where the spirituality comes to these days. I didn't want to speak about it, didn't want to mention it because I was frightened maybe people wouldn't understand. But because you mentioned it, Yishar Koach, Jeffrey, that's who's the partner of the 7 days, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's where we come as a Jewish people. HaKadosh Baruch Hu given us the Torah. By that He given us the Torah, we got the 7th day. And you say in Tfilat Shachrit, Ismach Moshe b'matanat chelko in Shabbat. What it means, Ismach Moshe b'matanat chelko. Listen to that beautiful commentary. When Bnei Israel was in slavery in Egypt, Pharaoh came to Moshe Rabbeinu and he said to Moshe Rabbeinu, listen, this nation working very hard. Sorry, Moshe Rabbeinu said to Pharaoh, this nation working very hard. If you don't want them to stop working very hard, give them 1 day, of rest to charge the battery, what we call it in our language. That means that they'll have extra energy. He said, you know what? It's a brilliant idea, Pharaoh said to Moshe. He said, which day you suggest? He said, let's take the 7th day. But that's, what is it? He said that that's the day, listen to that they're going to rest. And by that they rest on the 7th day, on a Sunday, they will have extra energy for the next 6 days. Say Hazal, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed Moshe Rabbeinu that he given them the 7th day while they was in slavery in Egypt. And that's why we say in Tfilah on Shabbat, Yismach Moshe b'matanat chelko. What does it mean that Moshe should be happy in the present that he given us? That Moshe Rabbeinu was the first one to implant on a Shabbos. So that's the holy day. You follow? Okay, Jeffrey. I hope that that will help.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, more than. Thank you.
Any other question, Rabotai, regarding number 7? I maybe didn't explain it properly, or maybe there's any other question that I didn't maybe touch or didn't cover it. If you have any question, bechavod. Okay, there's no question. In that case, I would like to wish all of you, Rabotai, first of all, a great evening. And tomorrow is a day of voting. Enjoy your public days. And please God, we'll meet again on this coming Thursday, Be'ezrat Hashem, on Parashat HaShavua. We'll speak about Parashat HaShavua. So, guys, have a great evening.
Amen.
And please God, all the best. Louis, by the way, I missed you on Thursday. Where did you been hiding? Louis?
He's muted.
Louis, unmute yourself.
Unmute. Yeah.
I'm unmuting. Yeah. No, I tried to get through. And eventually I gave up. I couldn't log in.
Why?
I don't know for what reason. I don't know. I just couldn't log in. I was going mad. Yeah.
We missed you. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Just to tell you that we missed you.
Thank you, Rolf.
We missed you on Thursday. Rabotai, again, to wish you all a great night and all the best. Please God that it will be a great week for all of us. And now that we know a little bit more about number 7 and what's hiding behind it. All the best and have a great evening. All the best.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.